Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. And I apologize for the live starting a few minutes later than we had scheduled. But I was in the middle of just a great conversation that needed to be wrapped up. And I wanted to jump in here immediately because I have been beyond excited to share with you information about productivity and menopause. So, if you are listening here and you are a woman, which chances are, if you're watching this, you are, I want to tell you that the podcast episode that dropped today on my podcast, Work Life Harmony, is something every woman should absolutely listen to, regardless of your age. All right. Information that is shared inside of that podcast today is stuff I wish I'd known in my 20s. And now that I am learning and getting all this knowledge from the experts, I'm actually starting conversations with my teen daughter right now about better understanding all of the things that we as women will go through. Because regardless of whether you choose to have children or not, one thing that we all have in common when it comes to the insides, our reproductive system, is the fact that we will all experience perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. And I have shared a little bit in my story. Over the course of years, I was one that started experiencing what I now know is perimenopause earlier than typical women do, actually in my late 30s. And I hit full menopause a little earlier as well in my late 40s. And if I had been equipped with the knowledge that I have now learned way back then, that journey would have looked completely different for me. So today on the podcast, I had Dr. Mary Claire Haver, who is, I believe, the leading expert in menopause. She is a board certified OBGYN and really is on a mission to change the conversation and education, both in the medical communities and for women at large on this topic, because it is something that we will all experience. Now, we will all experience it differently. So let's bring this back to this conversation of menopause and productivity and why I wanted to have her on the show and why I believe it is so important for everyone to learn about this. Okay, Dina's saying I follow her. Fantastic. It's life-changing, right? And I am going to put a link. I've got it on at the post here for this video, and I'll put it in the link here if you're with me on StreamYard. She has a new book that is you can order right now, pre-sale, that will be shipping out at the end of April. I've had a chance to read the book ahead of time, which was amazing. And I've got the link here for you. You can go ahead and pre-order it on Amazon, so it will ship to you the minute the book is launched later this month. Highly recommend every woman getting this book. So when it comes to our productivity, Dr. Haver shares in the episode today all the brain science of physically what is happening to our bodies as we are experiencing perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, that really brings a lot of energy level swings, right? So I know for me, I really had many years where I struggled with lack of predictability with my energy levels. And one of the things I teach inside of my top program for time management, organization, and productivity for women is tracking that energy level so that we can better plan to it. Well, I've been doing that for a very long time, and I started to notice my energy thing is not like I'm having a hard time planning for it because it's kind of all over the map, not realizing that it was all over the map due to perimenopause and how I was experiencing it. And so she shares in the episode today physically what is happening that causes that. And if I had had that knowledge prior to those energy level swings, I would have been far more prepared to expect them and know how to navigate throughout them. It would have allowed me I'm thinking one thing in particular, when I felt myself getting into one of those very low energy areas, I would have known what was happening in my body to then know, oh, this is only going to last for me probably a few days and I'll be back out the other end of it. Whereas when we don't have this knowledge, I was experiencing, okay, well, I guess this is just me now. I don't know what's going on. What's wrong with me, right? We start to do that. What's wrong with me? Guilt, guilt, guilt all the time. And so if you are, again, no matter what stage you're in, you may be in your 20s watching this, you may be in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, having the knowledge of what it is that we all go through, what's some possible, there's a ton of different symptoms that different women can experience, but knowing what could happen, what might happen, so that you are, when you do experience it, you have the knowledge to understand why, and more importantly, now you have the knowledge to know what you might want to shift in your life to support what you are going through. I put a post out earlier saying, we're going to be talking about this today. And someone, wrote back and said, how can you talk about it? It's impossible to be productive and go through menopause. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. One, because of my definition of productivity, which is getting the most important things done in a stress-free way, right? And two, really leaning into planning. Because now looking back over pretty much my entire 40s, late 30s to late 40s, I experienced a lot of pretty severe perimenopause symptoms. Yet I still managed to launch 2 businesses, and achieve quite a bit. But looking back, I realize, and that was due to the effort that I put into my planning. But I now realize, if I had been equipped with the knowledge that I now have about everything going on inside of my body, it could have been even better. And this is what I want to make sure all of you take the time to get empowered with that knowledge. Because one, you're going to feel validated. Two, you're going to not feel so out of control because you're going to know what to expect, why it's happening, etc. And then number three, and most importantly, is you will have the knowledge, the tools, and the language to go advocate for yourself with whatever course of healthcare you are looking for, whether it's holistic, not, talking to your primary care provider versus your OBGYN. The conversations I have had changed. It actually led me to find a different healthcare provider and make different choices for my care. So those are, for all of those reasons, this is why I think it's incredibly important for all women to really get educated on that. And I believe that Dr. Haver is one of the best resources you can go to actually get that education. So I'm going to be sharing the link out again for her book so that you can go and pre-order that. And then also make sure you go follow her on socials. I follow her on Instagram. She pours a wealth of knowledge and information for free out into Instagram every single day. So that is kind of my soapbox for this week, because it is something that is so incredibly important, and something that as women, we all deserve to get the care that we need, and we deserve to be educated about it so that we can feel empowered to advocate for ourselves, so that even through the journey of menopause and all that goes with it, you can still have work-life harmony. All right, guys, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here next week with a pretty fantastic thing to share for you all, that I have been really, really excited about. So I'll see you guys back here next week.